Hi everybody, my name is Brenda Locke, and I'm running with my partners Stephen Gammer under the banner of Team Surrey. I'm very proud to do so. I'm a former Minister of State for Mental Health and Addiction Services, and I'm also a former MLA for Surrey Green Timbers. My husband John and I have lived here in Surrey for 35 years and raised our kids as well right here in Surrey. And we've had a great life in Surrey, and my kids play sports, like I'm sure many of yours do. And they have enjoyed a lot of those services that we have in the city. We have seen incredible growth in the city, and that's positive. But along with the growth, the infrastructure on so many levels in Surrey just hasn't kept pace. And I can, to name a number of things, I can certainly talk to you about ice arenas because that's a big part of our life, and I know many of you here. We certainly do not have anywhere close to the number of ice arenas we should have in Surrey. The transportation infrastructure is a real challenge for many of you. There's just so many things, senior services, you name it. Surrey has not kept pace, and we have to do better. I hope when every one of you go home tonight into your warm beds that you remember there are people that are sleeping outside, 400 people sleeping outside tonight in the wind and the rain. So on the 15th, please vote for Brenda Locke and Stephen Gammer. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. Now you. Don't get out of it that easy.
I'm a test one, so you guys
Leading the way.
watch my mistakes because it'll be lots.
Brenda, so your first question is, you state that accountability, transparency, and accessibility are a priority. What plan would you institute to address this issue?
I think there should be really stringent reporting out services to the citizens of the city, and I think we should take the City Hall outside of the City Hall building that we have now in Wally, right around the city, so the City Hall comes to the citizens and they can actually participate in that dialogue.
Thank you. And your second question is, one of the issues you identify is the lack of social services for those in need. What resources in our community do you see as a priority?
There is no question that the winter shelter right now has got to be a priority. We have people sleeping on the streets. In fact, Stephen and I were visiting this morning. That this is just too sad for our city. We can do better. We must do better in Surrey than we're doing. People are not getting the kind of help they need, and that is a shame. We have the ability to have a purpose-built building, and we need to do that very quickly.
Hi everybody, my name is Dave Woods, and I'm running for City Council, obviously. Information everybody, I moved to Surrey in 1986. I've served over 40 years with the RCMP, the last 15 years with the Surrey Detachment. During that time, I was the District Commander in the Cloverdale-Port Kells area for 8 years. While the District Commander, I established a police community consultative group that was successful in addressing a number of community concerns. If elected, our first priority is public safety. I strongly support our police chief's new proposed model of service delivery and its intention to deploy the majority of the new additional members of resources to the front lines. In the future, members will consistently patrol in a small designated area, which will allow them time to get to know the community, build relationships, get out of their cars, and also work with businesses. I want to establish a citywide police community consultative group, continue building on the City of Surrey crime reduction strategy. Encouraging business growth in the City of Surrey is critical to ensuring we have a strong local economy, which it will help pay for our services. I therefore want to contribute to an environment that promotes reasonable growth. I want the City of Surrey to be affordable and livable for families and create local employment opportunities. Surrey First also is committed to improving public transportation. So in my view, Surrey First has an outstanding record of accomplishments. We can and we will accomplish more in the future. Thank you.
All right. Two questions.
Right.
First question, you may in part have already answered some of this with your intro, but you can elaborate on it. Given that crime stats overall in Surrey are down, but citizens are feeling less safe, What is your plan to improve citizens' quality of life so they feel safe in their own community?
Well, I think the first thing that we have to do is get the police so that they've got time to get out of their vehicles and get out and start doing patrols on foot. That was addressed in Dr. Cohen's report, and something we're going to move to. I believe in professional police services. I don't believe in any other form of delivery.
Thank you. And the second question, you state that if elected, you will continue to support Surrey's many community cultural events. Would you support additional funding for community groups putting on events, and why?
I'd have to look at that. I'm not, that question is a little out of my area of expertise. I'd have to see what the implications would be on the city for doing that.
Good evening. My name is Justin Finn, and I'm a member of the Safe Surrey Coalition. I was born in Swift Current, Saskatchewan, and I have a BA Honours in Psychology, as well as I have a law degree from the University of Saskatchewan. I've lived in various neighborhoods in Surrey, including Newton, Sullivan Heights, Sullivan Station, Cloverdale, and currently I reside in Fleetwood. I've been practicing law in Surrey for over a decade now. I'm a husband, I'm a father to two young boys aged 3 and 6 years. As a father of young children, I'm concerned for their futures. Crime has exploded all over the city. I feel that the rates have gotten out of control, and as I spoke to people in the community, I know that they simply don't feel safe. In my neighborhood, I've been a member of my son's school, PAC, and I'm aware of the issues as they've been raised in the schools, including the fact that we found needles in the playground. This has become an issue that's bothered people throughout the city. I've seen how Surrey Provincial Court has become busy over the years, to the point of no other provincial court being as busy as Surrey Provincial Court. As a lawyer, I'm aware of these issues. I've lived in large cities, and I've lived throughout, and I've been raised in small towns, but ultimately, I want to bring back those small town values to Surrey. So on November 15th, please give me your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Justin, your first question, please explain your party's 6-point plan to address crime, and how do you plan to enact your 6-point plan to address crime without raising taxes?
Well, we fully costed our 6-point plan. The cost of that has come to a total of $21 million. Part of that is we've looked at the fact that we can take 3% from the overall budget. That amount will allow us to take into consideration a total of, I believe the number is $15 million. With that, $5 million. The $5 million would allow us to then, again, allow us to put, sorry if I can review my notes here. Sorry about that. I will not be able to answer that in full now. Sorry, I apologize.
All right, well, your second question, you have listed affordable housing as one of your top 5 concerns. What plans do you have to address the needs for affordable housing in Surrey?
Well, we've looked at this at some extent, and I've looked at the fact that the cost of living is simply very high in and throughout Surrey. People can't afford housing. We've ended up with issues throughout Surrey and throughout the Lower Mainland, but in particular here, we have an issue now where there's a large population of homeless people, but the greater concern is the working poor. Essentially, we don't have anything in mind for them, but we need to work with the other levels of government. Cooperation is a key so that we can pull that funding, the funding that's necessary in order for us to build social housing and housing to help house all those individuals who can't afford housing.
Hello, everyone. I'm here because I have 2 young children. And my kids are scared. They had their house broken into. They had their car, my car broken into, their car broken into. And in their school, they talk about crime. And we do not have a comprehensive program where our police officers are in the schools talking to our kids, teaching them that there are ways, and to communicate with them. The One Surrey team has a plan to have 2 CSOs in every school. They're going to communicate with their kids. They're going to talk to them. They're going to show them paths. If kids start taking the wrong path, these CSOs can work with them and shape them back to the correct path. The One Surrey team was created by bringing together community leaders to best represent all of us. We are called One Surrey because we are all one Surrey. We have crime, we have agriculture, we have business, we have police, different police model where we can actually change the culture of crime in this city and make it a culture of safe in this city. As you know, I'm the president of the Chamber of Commerce. I've been focused on business. The business I run, we are now the #1 rated business in our field in Canada. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Your first question is this. You state that we need to strongly advocate for better transportation service throughout Surrey. What would you do to advocate, and what would be your priorities?
As president of the Chamber of Commerce in Cloverdale, we look at the plan, the rapid transit plan, the light rail transit plan, and it bypasses downtown Cloverdale. And we have been speaking loud and clear about that. And it's not just Cloverdale, it is Newton, it is other areas. And quite honestly, we need a plan that addresses our needs, both residents and businesses alike. We need to make sure that we are not gridlocked. I don't know how long it took you to drive up here today, but it's ridiculous. If we add light rail down these major routes, we are going to increase our transit time, not decrease our transit time. We need plans that actually make it easier for us, not harder for us.
Thank you. And your second question, what are your plans to protect, treat, and educate people with addiction problems?
It's a great question. My mother has been a mental health worker her whole life as a professional. She runs a DBT program. She and I have talked about this for years. She works with people that, she is the initial contact for people. She was at Surrey Memorial, she's now at Peace Arch. It's all about giving options, about giving people choices. And we need to give people the choice. And if some people choose to continue the cycle of addiction, then they can live in that cycle for a while, but we need to continually give them options to come out of that cycle. Because it is a disease, and we need to help them get rid of that disease and help them deal with that disease.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Darlene Boyer, and I'm running for candidate with the One Surrey team. It is paramount in all areas of Surrey, residents feel safe in their own neighborhoods. If you do not feel safe, nothing else matters. One Surrey has a plan which can be implemented within the first year of office, which addresses public safety issues. I have served on numerous city and community committees over the years. I have been listening to the concerns of the residents of Surrey and know what those concerns are. Public safety is #1. Infrastructure not keeping up with the pace of development is another. Improvement in the transit system, and people are really concerned about the loss of environment. I am committed to creating vibrant city cores. No resident should have to drive for 30 minutes across the city to buy a pair of shoes for their kid. We need sustainable development. Surrey is large and diverse, and each area is an important part of our city and should be improved.
Thank you. Darlene, your first question relates in part to what you just said. You see planning and development as an issue in Surrey. Why and what would you do to address this concern?
Well, sustainable development is the way to go. I'm not against development, but we need to put emphasis on the economy, the environment, and social needs of the community. If you don't take care of all three, you're not developing in a sustainable manner.
Thank you. And you state that all town centers are important in Surrey. What would you do to attract business investment throughout the city?
Well, I don't think building one city core is the way to sustainable development. Each community needs their own commerce, their own shopping center, their own vibrant city core. And so that's what I would advocate for, sustainable development.
Hello, everybody. My name is Barbara Steele, and I am running for council with the Surrey First team. I have been a resident of North Surrey for 35 years and have recently moved to Whalley. I have been on council for 16 years and have served the past 9 years with Surrey First. I am past president of the Lower Mainland Local Government Association and past president of Union of BC Municipalities. I currently sit on the Metro Vancouver Board of Directors. I want to continue the positive work and leadership of Surrey First. I see a city with light rapid transit along 104th from Guildford down King George Boulevard to 72nd, as well as SkyTrain along Fraser Highway, all under construction within the next 6 years. I continue to be a strong proponent of our crime reduction strategy, which stresses identifying the root causes of crime and encourages the community to work together with the RCMP and other agencies to keep our city safe. I do feel that we need to continue to lobby the federal government for changes in the criminal justice system. The safety of seniors in our city have ensured that Surrey has received age-friendly status designation as outlined by the United Nations, and we have introduced citywide education regarding elder abuse and neglect. Surrey First has delivered strong, effective, and cohesive leadership. On November the 15th, vote Linda Hepner, Mayor, and Barbara Steele for council. Thank you.
Thank you. Your first question is, in order to receive currently available funding from the provincial government for a purpose-built shelter, which you indicate you support, land must be designated and property zoned as soon as possible so that the funding is not given to another community. What will you do to ensure that Surrey gets this funding?
Well, we will work together as a team to make sure that the place is the right place. This year, we have encouraged and received another caseworker and outreach worker to make sure that people are placed. Last year, that worked in our favor and placed people in homes instead of shelters. We have 2 places under review right at the moment, and we will be ensuring that those are set aside and put together as quickly as possible to get that provincial funding.
Thank you. Your next question, one of your personal priorities is light rapid transit. Which route is the priority and why? I'll just say for the basic of the audience, the 104th Avenue from Guildford to City Centre, King George connecting City Centre to Newton, or along the Fraser Highway from City Centre to Columbia.
Well, the number 1 goes from Guildford to King George Boulevard, down King George Boulevard to 72nd and Newton. That is the top priority for us because that will connect us with White Rock, Delta, and Limelight. And South Surrey, I'm sorry, all of those. So that's number 1 priority.
Good evening. Yes, I am Michael Bowes. I am a member of one of the oldest families in this city. We have been leaders in this city for over 125 years. It has fallen upon me and my family to now step forward and put my name out to run for council. We believe in this city, and I believe in this city. This city used to be safe, and now it's not. We have, on the One Surrey team, have a 360-degree plan that works with RCMP, CSOs, to bring back the justice that we need. I have spent over 30 years volunteering at City Hall on planning committees. I have full understanding of the planning process and what needs to be done. We have a unique city. It is so unique with 1/3 of its land base in the agricultural land reserve. It's an untapped economic growth that we need to tap into. And the One Surrey team will come out with a plan that will make use of those underutilized lands and help the economy of the city grow through agriculture and food production to supply safe, affordable food to the community. The One Surrey team has come together as a group of individuals and community leaders that can bring the city back to One Surrey. Thank you.
Thank you very much. One of the questions that was circulated is, in your opinion, what do you think is the most positive thing that has happened in Surrey recently that makes you proud to live here? And can you tell us what you think that is?
That was actually the toughest question to answer, because we're all focused on the negative. And one of the things that makes me the proudest is, as creator of the City of Surrey's Agriculture Advisory Committee, we have led the way for the entire province. We were the first local government to have an advisory committee. There are 42 communities that now have copied what we do and are continuing to copy the work that we do to preserve our food-producing lands, which are an economic backbone to this entire province, and most importantly, an economic backbone to this city.
Thank you. Transportation is number 2 on your list of the top 5 issues in Surrey. What plans do you have to address this issue?
I've advocated for light rail in this city for over 25 years. We used to have light rail. My father used to ride it. My grandfather used to ride it. My uncle, who was mayor, used to ride it. We have a track, and as outlined by candidates that have been up here earlier, we need to get that track down King George to 72nd. Then we can utilize the existing track to tie into Cloverdale, Langley, and all the way to Scott Road, so that we can move people east and west in the city. The biggest transit issue in this city is east-west. And it's also the toughest one to do because the ALR stands in the way.
Thanks.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Rena Gill. I'm a small business owner and community volunteer. I've worked with a variety of businesses, organizations, and nonprofits, both locally and internationally. I enjoy working with people, believe in nurturing relationships with all communities, and have been involved with many grassroots initiatives. I exemplify public service on a regular basis. This is why I'm running for Surrey City Council, and it's a natural progression for me. I ran before and came very close to winning, coming in 9th spot. I'm running again to prove my determination and commitment to the community. We need change on council. I'm running with Doug McCullum and the Safe Surrey Coalition team. I believe in our platform, which has 4 pillars. Crime is a major issue in our community, and our residents don't feel safe. So public safety is our #1 priority. Another priority is transportation. Surrey is growing at a rapid pace, and our infrastructure needs to accommodate this growth so people can commute easily and safely. Running a simple government that is financially responsible and doesn't waste taxpayer dollars is part of our platform. I've also been a huge advocate of the ward system for the past 6 years. We absolutely need neighborhood representation, more accessibility, and accountability on council. The current at-large system is simply not enough. We need an experienced leader in the mayor's chair and fresh new faces on council. On November 15th, please vote Doug McCullum and the Safe Surrey Coalition for council. Thank you.
Rena, your first question. With the upcoming March referendum on transportation funding, what stable funding sources would you advocate for and why?
Well, we are very lucky to have a leader who has been a chair on the TransLink board. He has a proven track record of being able to pull funding from various levels of government, and I can actually read you some of the stuff that he's accomplished. As the chair of TransLink, Doug McCullum secured funding for the largest increase to transportation infrastructure in BC history, including the Canada Line, the Golden Ears Bridge, and at the time, the world's largest order of trolley buses. Doug McCullum's success followed and tried a true formula that leveraged equal contributions from the provincial and federal governments. So I'm very proud to be part of this team with a leader who has done this before and has a great track record.
And what plans do you have to ensure Surrey is the new economic hub of the Lower Mainland?
Being a small business owner myself, I have worked with many different organizations in the community. I'm a huge advocate of small business and large corporations. I do believe small business is the backbone of our economy, and I do believe we need new jobs, more jobs in Surrey. So I will do everything to leverage all my partnerships, both locally and internationally. Thank you.
I'm here to ask you to support me in the upcoming election. I want to be on the Surrey Council because I want to share the many years of business and community services and experiences I've got. I think they're valuable. My background includes a career in commercial lending, in real estate, including land development and land uses. I'm really proud in this community of seeing the architectural diversity that's taking place here in Surrey Center, City Center. Holland Park is an exceptional contribution to the family nature of Surrey. I want to see developments that provide housing that is suitable for everybody, hostels and safe homes for people who are without resources are important. And we need play areas and facilities for young people. I'm a proactive person, and I make sound business decisions. If elected, I'll be working closely with the city, the province, and the federal governments to make Surrey the place it can be. I see the yellow flag. I ask you to vote for Cliff Blair, an independent candidate.
Cliff, your first question is, you've mentioned that infrastructure planning and funding is number 2 of your top 3 priorities. Please elaborate.
The history of growth has left us with broken roads, inadequate facilities for our people to use, parks in particular. And that's because we don't make them priorities as we go along. We get wrapped up with the development process, with the growing process. And now we're paying for it. My little tag here says Surrey has growing pains, and I can help.
Thank you. You state that you intend to be an influence in making City Centre a safe and friendly place to enjoy work and leisure by being pedestrian friendly with a broad assortment of businesses. What would you do to attract businesses to the area?
One of the key things we have to address is crime and personal safety. People don't want to walk into an area like this great place and go 2 blocks away. That's just not acceptable. We need to increase our policing. We need to increase the awareness of business people and people at large about what's going on around them. And that will create an atmosphere that will.
So good to be here and to see all of you. My husband and I have 3 grown children. We've lived here for over 25 years and I'm a new nana, so I'm very proud to be that. It's been an honor to serve all of you residents for the past 9 years as one of your councillors since 2005. Aside from being a councillor, I've been a volunteer on a number of boards in the community serving the most vulnerable people. Surrey is the fastest growing city in British Columbia. Like you, we all love our city. I'm a member of Surrey First. It's a diverse team that accepts differences of opinions, but works together to share a vision to find constructive ways for the best solutions and to ensure a balanced approach for you and your families. As chair of the Diversity Advisory Committee, we have worked hard to ensure that every resident feels welcome here and belonging in the city of Surrey. I also believe that healthcare for all is a foundation for a good quality of life. I have focused on ensuring that Surrey citizens are properly served by our food bank. When needed, mental health and addiction services are in place and available for those in need. I have much more to say, but I see the yellow page. So on November 15th, please vote for Linda Hebner as mayor and the Surrey First team.
Thank you. Your first question. On your list of the top 5 issues facing Surrey is the environment. What more can Surrey do to address environmental concerns?
We make sure that the environment is a critical area, and for me, I want to make sure that we protect our parks, protect our environment, and protect our wildlife. And so it's very critical for me to do that.
Thank you. Your second question. In order to receive currently available funding from the provincial government for the purpose-built shelter, which you indicate you support, land must be designated and properly zoned as soon as possible so that funding is not given to another community. I know this was a question asked earlier, but we'd like to ask you now. What will you do to ensure Surrey gets this funding?
You know, I have always been a proponent that people don't really want to be on the streets. People do not, they really don't want to be there. And I believe truly that if we're going to build a shelter, it should be within the precinct of a hospital, so that they have the opportunity to have the health care that we provide them at Surrey Memorial Hospital and within the Phoenix Center and all those other facilities that are around the hospital precinct.
My passion is neighborhood involvement, and throughout the decade that I have been a resident of Surrey, I have put myself forward to community service. I have helped build community in Surrey through my volunteer positions with Success, Options, and my kids' school's Parent Advisory Council for straight 6 years. And as a founder of the Surrey Philippine Independence Day Society, with so Filipino Canadians like me, engaging and sharing to mainstream society. I am extremely proud of the contributions that my children, Daryl and Alicia, have given to Surrey at such young age. Over my years as a volunteer.
I'm sorry, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, your first question, you state that City Council could do more to help neighborhood associations, community associations, and immigrant communities. If elected, what would you do?
As I was saying, as a community volunteer, over the years, I have seen that ordinary people like me when I was starting would like to be part of the city and be part of the change, and given the chance, contribute to the progress of the city. So I will advocate for contributions of everyone in all areas of Surrey by engaging every community from north to south, from east to west of Surrey.
Thank you. And your second question, other than address Surrey's crime issues, how do you plan to position Surrey to take care of business globally?
Pardon me?
Other than address Surrey's crime issues, how do you plan to position Surrey to take care of business globally?
I believe that safety would still be a main issue for that, because as one Surrey believes, if people don't feel safe, nothing else matters. So that will have a great impact on business. So I would advocate for programs that will promote safety so that Surrey will be part of the global progress that we are all aspiring for. Thank you.
Stickler for details. 90 seconds.
Hi, I'm Vera LaFranc, and I'm running with Surrey First and Linda Hepner as our mayor. I've lived and worked in Surrey for almost 18 years. All of that time, I have been working with some of our most vulnerable citizens. I'm running for city council because I believe in a sustainable city with safe, connected, and strong neighborhoods where diversity is celebrated, where our youth, seniors, and most vulnerable are part of a strong social fabric. If elected, my top 3 priorities will be crime reduction, community inclusion, and sustainability. Over the past 9 years, Surrey First has really set a strong foundation, but there's still work to be done. With crime, it's particularly important to have a balanced approach. It's not enough to just add more police. We need to address the roots of crime, like poverty, addiction, mental health, and homelessness. We have an opportunity to transform our city through smart and sustainable development. Let's protect our green spaces and expand them at every opportunity. Let's build for public transit and not for the car. Let's work with business and have green jobs close to home. I believe in the Surrey First vision, and it's a vision for the future. If you share that vision,
Your first question, one of your personal priorities, you just mentioned it, was community inclusion. What does this mean to you, and if elected, how will you address this priority?
Well, I think it's critical that people from all areas of Surrey feel included in the public processes. And I was thinking about a group of Somali women recently that we're working with, and they're very vulnerable, having come to Surrey as government-assisted refugees. And we invited them to City Hall, and they were given a tour, and that was the first time they had ever felt welcome in our community. And if we think about expanding that at every opportunity, inviting our citizens in at every opportunity, and that's what I mean by community inclusion.
Thank you very much. Your second question. You believe a strong downtown core is good for all of Surrey. What are your plans for attracting investment to create jobs for residents?
I think good planning is at the core of all good business development. What we need to do with our planning, and I see the beginning starting, is really having a streetscape that is welcoming, having many people walking along our streets and enjoying the services and the businesses as they are to the city. Part of that is the way we build and the way we plan, and I really think that City Council and Surrey First has done a good job of starting that process.
Good evening. As introduced, my name is Cal DeSange. I'm not a politician, and I don't intend on becoming one. I will maintain vigilance as a concerned citizen who works for the people. I believe in pluribus unum, the Latin phrase where out of many comes one. As much as we need to exercise, observe, and respect individualism, multiculturalism, diversity, if we're going to move together to change Surrey, we need to move together as one force, one mind, and one voice. We have to have cohesive thinking. The saying that it takes a village to raise a child. It'll take this village to raise my two children, a 6-year-old girl and a 4-year-old boy. And it'll take this village to raise every single other child in every other family, regardless of class, creed, ethnicity, and race. I believe in a Surrey where our children can feel safe in the playgrounds. I believe in a Surrey where we shelter our homeless. And I believe in a Surrey where we protect our poor. I worked with the Vancouver Police Department for 15 years in patrol. 8 of those years was as a beat cop in the downtown east side. I understand mental health, I understand addiction, and I understand homelessness. I've run over 300 programs for inner city youth to save them from drugs, gangs, and crime. It wasn't done for political expediency. It was done because I'm a concerned citizen and I care. I will move forward with resolve and conviction to change this great city of ours with integrity, professionalism, accountability, and respect. Thank you.
Thank you. And your first question, which partly you've answered, and maybe you can elaborate on, is that given the crime stats overall in Surrey are down, the citizens are feeling less safe. What is your plan to improve citizens' quality of life so they feel safe in their own community?
We have a three-point triangular approach to that. One point on the triangle will be the public safety office. We'll have a director in charge, and that safety office will serve as the installation barrier between the emergency personnel services and other sectors within our departments, such as engineering, bylaw. And they'll be reportable and accountable to us, the council. Second point will be treating the vulnerable sector, which includes the homeless, the poor, children, the elderly, the issue, and other individuals that have mental health issues. And the final last point will be traffic and safety. If we can take this 360 degrees comprehensive plan and implement it, we can bring back safety to our citizens.
Thank you. And your second question, what plans do you have to ensure Surrey is the new economic hub of the Lower Main?
I'm not a one-trick pony. I might be a police officer and understand the crime issue. Doesn't mean my vision is myopic or one-dimensional in nature. I understand that if we're going to become something, if the city is going to move forward, we need to thrive economically. And we need to do it in such a way that is fiscally responsible and is reasonable. In order to do so, we need to connect with other cities, understand how their economies work as well, attract advanced manufacturing and other corporate sectors to the city. It's only then that we can call ourselves as progressive and moving forward.
My name is Rick Scorsese. Why am I running? Well, the fiscal irresponsibility in spending over $150 million of taxpayer money to build a new city hall when we could have used that money for to make our critical first respond teams more effective, meaning our firefighters, our RCMP, our paramedical staff, if we spend more time and resources in recruitment and making sure that these fire halls were adequately staffed, I believe that we could have responded to a lot of these crimes in time. And that will be one of my first priorities. So I believe that needs to be, a key thing that needs to change. We've been spending more of our taxpayer money on what we want than what we need. That's gonna change. Second thing, restructuring and improving public transportation. Under my leadership, if I'm a city councilor, I'll work with TransLink, HandyDart, and the taxi companies and any other privatized services to make sure that our people with disabilities and seniors will get the services they deserve. My name's Rick Scorsese, and I'm running for city councilor. Thank you.
Thank you. Your first question, you mentioned that your top priority is to provide tax incentives for small business owners and entrepreneurs. Please elaborate on your plans.
Yes, I believe that the city has a program, and it does give tax incentives, but what we need to do is to connect these small business owners with the Surrey Board of Trade and bring them more of the services that they need to build a better business plan, get more venture capitalists to come and support their businesses so that these businesses are vibrant. And in turn, they're the ones that are gonna give jobs to our citizens. So therefore, I intend to work with the Surrey Board of Trade and every other agency to make sure that that happens.
Thank you. And your second question, according to the answers to our questions, you identified fiscal responsibility as the top issue facing Surrey. You mentioned this in your introduction. Could you elaborate on the problem and explain how you would rectify that problem?
Well, we need to look at our budgets and make sure that we restructure it according to what people want in this city. Recently, incumbent councillor Tom Gill and even Linda Hepner had welcomed the Whitecaps, perhaps coming into the city of Surrey. But at what cost? That's a want, that's not a need. And the city of New Westminster just shut it down because of the cost. So we are focusing on things that we really don't need at this time. We need to move away from it and be fiscally responsible.
Hi everyone, my name is Suraj Gambarzad and I'm running for the council. I'm a visionary that founded a healthcare company called All Nursing Health Services in 2005 that currently employs about 100 individuals in British Columbia and Alberta. And we've done quite well. In 2001, I launched a charity called Nejat Church Ministry, which is a registered charity. We operate 4 mother churches and we broadcast 24/7 programming targeting Middle East. And we have thousands of volunteers serving refugees in UN designated area in Turkey. I'm running for the council because I'm witnessing a council that champions bad policies. Bad policies are hurting Surrey residents. Bad policies have led to more crimes, cut back to seniors, children, and youth program. I guess I'm the only one that have my 2 young children sitting up there, and I haven't been able to register them in any program for the past few months because there has been severe cutback in programs for the children. I'm talking about sports and leisure program. And also there's been severe cutback to the subsidies for the low-income families that they really need to use the services. So this just shows the incredible lack of judgment by the current council who's wanting to reduce crime and yet cutting back on children. So, but all of these can be changed.
Thank you very much. Your first question, you state that not having a master plan to grow the economy and create jobs is the top issue affecting Surrey. What would you include in the plan and why?
Well, for the past 9 years, we've had a lack of visionary leaders in Surrey. Well, we are living in a globalized environment and globalized world where the small doesn't matter and nobody will notice the small. So, you know, we need to compete and, you know, as I said, you know, running a city is like running a business, and to be successful we need to have talents and we need to have great leaders. So, you know, we can play it small, and I'm sure, you know, with having great vision, you know, we can attract mega businesses and people who can take Surrey to the next level. If you want to get in and out of the country, you have to go to the Richmond. You're going to go to the zoo, it's in Aldergrove. Giant water parks, you have to go to the Washington State, or you have to go to the West Edmonton Mall. And the list goes on and on and on. So basically, to put Surrey's name on a map, the few things we can do, being professional NBA basketball team, have an airport in Surrey, where we can have thousands of people come and go to Surrey, and it will be great for the economy and jobs.
Rooney, and I'm an independent candidate for Surrey City Council. I immigrated to Canada 28 years ago from Dublin, Ireland. I have been a community advocate for 25 years and have lived in Surrey for the past 18. I co-founded Surrey Pride in 1999, and in 2007, I led the public rallies that resulted in legislative change in the United States, having the then US HIV travel ban lifted effective January 2010. I am proud of our city and the people that live here, but believe we can make Surrey even better. Residents often ask me what I care about. I care about safety and safer communities. I care about our first responders, our RCMP, and the transit police. I care about protecting our parks, forests, farmlands, rivers, and streams. I am passionate about affordable housing because I live on low income and is fixed. I will advocate for better transportation, options that serve our current and our future needs. I also care about our youth. They are not only our now, but they are our future. I care about maintaining and or creating jobs in Surrey so that we can create a sense of pride in our industries and work together to keep the economy growing. More recently, I was the spokesperson for the Pride Alliance in Surrey when we lobbied City Council to fly the Pride flag during Pride Week, and we were once again turned down. At that time, I came to believe that I would have to become much more involved so that we could have a more diverse and inclusive City Council. On November the 15th, I'm asking for your vote.
Thank you. Your first question, you state you strongly support the vision of the technology corridor around Surrey Memorial Hospital. What would you do to ensure the success and growth of Innovation Boulevard?
I would work with all the partners that are in play for this adventure. And I honestly believe that the Technology Boulevard will be a fabulous asset to our city. If we are going to become the largest city in the province, and we are going to become a city that is world-renowned, we need to embrace the technology corridor to make it effective so that we can become that #1 city in the province.
Thank you. And you state that affordable housing is the top issue facing Surrey. What plans do you have to address this issue?
I would work with the developers, and I would work with the planners, and I would also be inclined to work with the provincial government. Affordable housing has to be in both the rental and the purchase market. As a person with a disability and on low income, I know what it is to need to have affordable housing available. I currently am a renter in this city, and rental property is really expensive to live in, as I can well imagine a family with a mortgage. So from that perspective, I fully embrace any efforts to create affordable housing in this city.
Hello, my name is Mike Starch. I've been running for the position of councillor with the Surrey First Team. I've lived in Surrey for 50 years and just concluded a 32-year career with the Surrey Fire Department. My wife and I have raised 2 athletic children, so I know what it means to live, work, and play in the city that I love. Public safety is the top of everyone's mind this election, and I want to drill down on one of the subjects that's really dear to me right now. There's only one person in the city that's been in all the recovery houses that we're aware of, and that's me. Unfortunately, over half of them are not registered, and in some cases not providing any services to the people that are inside them. We need to have our bylaws, fire department, Ministry of Health work in a more cohesive manner. We have the tools to close them down that are compliant with our provincial or municipal regulations. We need to ensure that those people that are operating these recovery houses, who are exploiting these vulnerable people, and they're not providing any services or programs, are shut down. At the same time, we need to ensure that those who are in need of treatment and are provided access to those services and programs in the safest buildings we have in the city. I spent 32 years in a team environment with the fire department, and now I'm part of the Surrey First team. We need to keep moving forward with our strategic plans. My name is Mike Starchuk. I'm running for the position of councillor with the Surrey First team under the leadership of Linda Hefner, and that's my first yellow card.
Thank you. And first question, you would like to prioritize seniors programs. What programs would you introduce and why?
Right now, I've been a part of the Seniors Advisory and Accessibility Committee for the last year and a half. And the group of people that are out there provide forums for our seniors throughout the city in different languages and different topics. And we have to make sure that those people that put our senior strategy in place by the city, it continues to move forward. We need to make sure that our seniors, who are a valued part of our society and are growing on a daily basis, are protected and cherished for the ideas that they brought forward.
Thank you. And your second question, you support a strong city centre as it creates career opportunities for young people and is a hub for the entire city to come together in a public space. Please explain what you would institute to support your vision of a strong city centre.
I think what we have to have here is, when we're talking about a community and a city center, that we want to make sure that what we have is something that's safe, clean, and affordable for those to set up shop, that we have access for those people that are there, and we create a vibrant area that people can walk from one place to the other place without any fear, but at the same time, they've got some entertainment value that's inside of there, so they can shop there, they can be entertained there, and at the end of the day, everything is just perfectly laid out for them. We want to be in the position where we're not talking about where do we have to go for that thing to take place. We have the city that we have today, and we want to make sure that we give that avenue to our kids that are there, so we're not leaving the city, and we can enjoy the facilities that we have there now.
Naz Artang, I was born and raised in this beautiful city of ours, and now I'm asking for the honor and privilege to serve as your city councillor with the One Surrey team. My background is diversified, working alongside the former premier of this province, and working in the private sector at an executive level. I'm running for Surrey City Council because Surrey First has sat on their hands while people are getting killed on our streets. This government likes to boast that we have the lowest property tax in the Lower Mainland. What they fail to tell you is that we also have one of the highest crime rates in the Lower Mainland as well. This government has failed the residents of Surrey. I'm here to cut the BS. There's no reason why a mayor making 6 figures should receive a car allowance. There's no reason why our city debt went from 0 to $250 million in 4 years. It's time for transparency, it's time for accountability, and it's time for some housekeeping.
Thank you. With the upcoming March referendum on transportation funding, what strategy do you have to ensure a yes vote from the voters in Surrey?
Look, the reality is we need to work with our provincial and federal counterparts. There's no way we can afford it on our own. I mean, for years we've been hearing about initiatives with LRT and rapid transit. We need to work with the provincial and federal counterparts. There's just no way around it. The One Surrey team is committed with the expertise of Mike Bose, Barinda Rasodi, to working with our provincial and federal counterparts to ensure that the initiatives of transportation are being met within Surrey.
Thank you. And other than address Surrey's crime issues, how do you plan to position Surrey so it can compete in global business?
One of the things that I've always argued is that City Centre, Surrey Central right here, there's no reason why this can't be a tech hub. I mean, you look at leasing space, the cost to lease an office in this area. You look at transportation, the accessibility of the SkyTrain. You look at human capital, which is the #1 obstacle facing businesses right now, Fortune 500 businesses. We have no shortage of bright minds with public institutions such as SFU and KPU. We have the opportunity to be a flagship city. We're at a pivotal moment, and I think we should capitalize it this November 15th.
Thank you.
Heavy-duty mechanic with the transit system in the Lower Mainland. The reason I'm running is I've been a resident here for 7 years in Surrey, and I've seen crime get worse and worse every year, to the point where me and my wife don't feel safe outside, and my mom don't feel safe outside on our streets, right? It took a tragedy and a murder on the loose to finally get policing to Newton, to the level where it was incredible. We had bike patrols, we had beat police, we had the level of service that Newton deserved. So, what we just can't have, I want to be your council, I want to run for your council, excuse me. And what I'd like to do is hire more police. And I know you can't do that at the drop of a hat. I know it takes time, but as soon as we get after the election, I get to your council, become your councilman, sorry, we're going to make that happen. We're going to start to implement that. Now, I realize that you just can't have police officers increase police officer service. You also need to reduce crime as well. And you also have to do crime prevention. And part of that is, okay, now I got the yellow flag. Listen, I want to be your Surrey's council member. Please vote for me.
Well, we're going to give you a chance to elaborate on your last part there when you got cut off. So the first question is, what strategy do you have to address safety issues? So we get to talk some more.
Right, so first off, more police. That and more police services and their support staff. Also, engage with our community partners to find solutions on how to fight crime and increase public safety. Another thing to do is also look at what works in our other municipalities and implement them in Surrey. You know, let's see what works in Vancouver, right? How are they making their downtown east side better? Let's bring that to our downtown east side, right?
Thank you. And your second question, with the upcoming, again, a question you've heard before, but with the upcoming March referendum on transportation funding, what stable funding sources would you advocate for and why?
Okay, so I'm a public transit worker, and I realize that Surrey is deficient in public service, in public transit. What we need to do, okay, for one thing, to say that we're against tolls is a misnomer, because tolls are here. We already have tolls on the Golden Years, and we also have tolls on the Port Man. So to say that we're anti-tolls means that the rest of the region is not going to pay. It's going to be the south of the Fraser Surrey is going to front the bills. So we're looking at replacement of the Massey Tunnel, that's going to be tolled, and the Portello Bridge. That's 4 of the 5 crossings. So what we need is an equitable funding system.
Good evening and welcome Whitecaps. My name is Tom Gill. I'm a 3-term councillor. I'm a chartered professional accountant. And I'm also the chair of the city's Finance, Audit, and Transportation Committee. I ask myself, what does it take to run a city to ensure the basic needs of every resident, and how do we pay? Fiscal responsibility are hallmarks of true transparency, which I take very seriously, whether it be in budgeting, investment portfolios, quarterly, annually financial reviews, internal and external audits. I understand the need for making investments in parks and recreational facilities, programs that invigorate our seniors, activities that engage our youth. We have increased both the operating and the capital funding for the parks recreation by $219 million of new money over the last 9 years to support our community. We are creating world-class facilities in this city. I acknowledge additional investments need to be made in addressing homelessness and housing issues, support for those suffering from mental illness and addictions, and of course, public safety. It's very easy to throw out words like freezing taxes, forensic audits, budget cuts. But the reality, folks, the Fraser Institute says Surrey has the most efficient city hall with the lowest property taxes. The C.D. Howe Institute gives us an A. Government Finance Office Association gives us awards.
Thank you. The first question is one you've heard before and relates to the purpose-built shelter. In order to receive currently available funding from the provincial government for a purpose-built shelter, which you indicate you support, land must be designated and property zoned as soon as possible so that the funding is not given to another community. What will you do to ensure Surrey gets this funding?
Certainly, just to give you some background, I am the CFO for Coast Mental Health Foundation, which is the largest nonprofit mental health organization in British Columbia. That being said, I do have some inside knowledge. Really the key to be able to facilitate these kind of needs is having a city such as Vancouver, who donates their lands, works in conjunction with BC Housing in the province, works with the health authority to bring on social services to support those tenants that would be residing in that place. So of course, I think what we need to do is also look at location, and location is very specific. Where do we want to locate it and why? Certainly we need to put a little additional effort into what we've done in the past, but certainly finding a location that's going to be in a precinct that's going to be able to be supported is very important.
Thank you. And again, a question that's familiar. With the upcoming March referendum on transportation funding, what strategy do you have to ensure a yes vote from the voters in Surrey?
Surrey?
Okay, last time it was chickens or roosters.
If I could just continue, can you repeat the question?
All right. Repeat the question. With the upcoming March referendum on transportation funding, what strategy do you have to ensure a yes vote from the voters in Surrey?
Well, certainly I think that one of the key issues here is equity. And when I'm referring to equity, I'm looking at equity in terms of service. The City of Vancouver, the residents of City of Vancouver receive substantially more service than Surrey. And really what needs to happen before any referendum happens is that we actually speak to and address the issue of equity and ensure the resources that Vancouver has per person is equivalent to the resources that we have in Surrey.
Good evening, my name is Stephen Gammer. I'm running with Team Surrey, and my running mate is Brenda Locke. I've lived in Surrey my entire life. I went to school here from elementary straight through to high school. I graduated from Lord Tweedsmuir in Cloverdale. With my career, I have the experience needed to bring the change that the people of Surrey need. They're looking for accountability at City Hall, and that's what I've heard. I have experience working on the downtown east side. I worked there for 3.5 years. I managed to staff financial aid workers who assisted people on income assistance. I have experience working with the provincial government, where I assisted members communicating with their hometowns. And I have for the last 10 years been a commercial real estate agent, and I have experience bringing new business into Surrey and understanding the needs of landlords and tenants and people expanding their business here. I've lived in Wally for the last 4.5 years, where I've been a block watch captain. Wally is my backyard, and today I can tell you that I watched police and engineering throw people out of the tents that they're living in. And to me, that is not an acceptable way of dealing with homelessness. That's not an initiative in our city. Because Surrey has kept its spending so low, as the Fraser Institute has shown us that Surrey is the lowest, that we've had an infrastructure deficit. Social programs, recreational facilities, and transportation have not been keeping up with our phenomenal growth. We need to support our citizens, and our infrastructure is out of order. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Your first question will help you continue on that topic. One of your priorities is to build a stronger Surrey to address the concern that Surrey's growth has outpaced our infrastructure. What infrastructure would you focus on and why?
There's several aspects to that. One has to do with homelessness, and the other has to do with the facilities such as parks and recreational facilities. We need to focus on the taxes that are generated and put them into people, their needs. There's been a deficit that has basically caused the citizens of Surrey to fall behind the other people in the region. Being lowest is not necessarily being best, because the citizens end up getting the shaft in the end.
Thank you. Your second question, you state that public safety is the #1 issue facing Surrey. What is your plan to address safety issues in Surrey?
One of the ways that Team Surrey is going to address public safety is we want to bring in a public safety commissioner, somebody that's going to work with the various departments in the city, that's engineering, the police, parks, recreation, with schools, and use a public safety lens in all departments to focus on looking at the public safety issues. So it'd be a coordinated effort through the entire city.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Sarah Audra, and I'm running as an independent city councillor, moving from Hong Kong 27 years ago, and I'm living in Surrey right now. I have 4 kids that I have raised from the age of 26 to 12. Moving from Hong Kong, I have learned a lot that we have big lands here that we can develop, but lately seeing so many things around the area, crimes, thefts, no parking at all, residential and commercial are really being hit hard. On the other hand, we are looking at all the structure that we have in Surrey. We have overspent the money, but those people who are kind of a low income, they don't have space to go. They're living on streets, and I feel very hurt. Being a hockey mom on the other hand, last time when we have a murder in Surrey, it really comes very close to me. From that time, I decided that I will be running, and I will make some changes to Surrey. Thank you.
Thank you. You list parking as the number 2 issue facing Surrey. Please explain why this is an issue, and what would you do to address this problem?
We have commercial and residential parking problem. If we look at the commercial, it's the truck parking. There's not very many truck parking for the truck industry. And if we look at the residential, we have very, very small streets, and the parking is, is a nightmare. If there's any emergency vehicle has to go through, there's no way that emergency vehicles can go through those lanes sometimes.
Thank you. Regarding a strong city center, you state that it is important to create an atmosphere people are attracted to. What would you do to create this atmosphere?
Being a realtor for the last 20 years, I have seen Surrey quite a bit of growing, especially right down at the downtown. Yes, we have used up quite a bit of space, and it's getting really, really crowded. I will move down that downtown towards the other areas to build up as a downtown.
Hello, good evening. This actually just feels like speed dating. All right. My name is Nat Binoya. I'm a bylaw officer by profession. I have been to all the back streets, all the back lanes in the city. I have seen illegal dumping, graffiti, broken fences all over the city. I clean them every single day. Here's what I'll say about myself more. I've lived in this city for 11 years. I have a family with 2 young kids. It's very difficult for me to explain to them why I have to walk them to a recreational center and bring them back. Especially when the murders happen in our city, it's like hitting home. That's the reason I'm here today. What will I implement as being a councillor? Hiring RCMP officers, bylaw officers, is not an issue. What is an issue is when you call RCMP, when you call a bylaw officer, when you call a community safety officer, they should be at your doorstep within 20 minutes if it's a non-emergency call. We need a Surrey Convention Center in Cloverdale to attract business. We need a UBC Science Center to attract students who are in medicine, pharmacy, and sciences.
Thank you very much. However, as seems to be the case often tonight, you can elaborate on that last point a bit with this question. One of your priorities is a convention center. Why? And where would you locate the convention center?
The reason I brought up the convention center is every time I pick up a Surrey Leader, a Now newspaper, what I notice is it's the Abbotsford TradeX or Vancouver Convention Center putting an ad in there for our businesses, for trade shows. We are in Surrey. This is the 2nd largest city in BC. Let's get a convention center to attract our businesses right here in Surrey. and make a difference, have jobs created right here in Surrey.
Thank you. And you already answered this in part, but you list crime as one of the top issues in Surrey. And the question was, what plan do you have to deal with this issue? But you already mentioned the officers. How would you implement your suggested changes?
See, I like the idea of Delta Police. I have worked as a Delta bylaw officer, Surrey bylaw officer, believe it or not, Abbotsford and Langley. I have been everywhere south of the Fraser. In Delta, they have a municipal police force, I understand that. We have RCMP, a federal police force. Last year, RCMP cut back on the community policing aspect of things. Do we get a better, services for our dollar? We do not. We need to hire community police officers that can respond to you in 20 minutes of you calling them. Why do you think we don't call police? Because we have lost the confidence. When we call them, no one shows up, and they show up after an hour and a half. That is not good enough.
Thank you for spending some of your time to come and get educated, because it's just so important that we vote. I especially want to thank all the people that apparently called each other before they came up to see what they were wearing tonight. I'm very proud of what's happened in Surrey over the past 9 years under Diane Watts, and I'm particularly proud of what's happened in the past 3 years as I've been on council. And when we look at that record, and we look at the things that we've accomplished, I think we can be very proud of our record. The things that I've particularly been involved in, of course, is the Investment and Innovation Committee, which looks after economic development strategies in the city. And that includes things like the development of Innovation Boulevard, which is attracting international growth and international investment in our city centre in partnerships with our major universities, primarily SFU, Fraser Health, the City of Surrey, at KPU, and so on, and attracting investment into our city in medical technology. We're also doing the same thing with clean technology as well, and we're just in the process of hiring a leadership chair along with SFU and PowerTech Labs to drive clean tech in the city. I also chair our Environmental Advisory Committee, and I'm very passionate about the things that we've done there, including our biodiversity conservation strategy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And once again, the question relates to funding of the purpose-built shelter. You've probably heard the question several times tonight. So the end question is always, what will you do to ensure that Surrey gets the necessary funding to build the purpose-built shelter before that money goes somewhere else?
Well, thank you. A purpose-built shelter is incredibly important. We haven't had a shelter, of course, in Surrey for many years, but it wasn't purpose-built. And when we've gone and looked at purpose-built facilities in other municipalities like Vancouver and New West, when there's internal courtyards, when it's built properly, they can integrate well into communities and could provide tremendous service for the people. What we've done to date is we've held a public hearing on a space around the hospital, because we believe that it should be located in the hospital precinct near other medical services. We've held that public hearing already, and we sent it back to staff to say, okay, this is fine, this is a good location, but is there any other locations that would be even better? Staff have identified another location, and we're investigating that, so that as soon as we have that location nailed, PC Housing is going to come to the table.
Excellent. And your second question, you've been working, as you mentioned, to make Innovation Boulevard a success. What plans do you have to expand on this initiative?
Well, thanks. I'm a small business owner in this community and have been for the last 22 years, and so I understand how business and investment will drive our economic future for the city. We have to be providing our young people meaningful jobs right here in the city of Surrey. We've worked very hard to be able to expand our post-secondary educational spaces in SFU and KPU, and KPU is coming to Innovation Boulevard specifically for that reason and expanding to 30,000 square feet for that very reason. We have new investment coming into the city. There's Uber Diagnostics just announced last week that they're coming from India and coming to Innovation Boulevard because they realize that Innovation Boulevard is the place to invest, both here in Surrey and right across Canada, so we're very proud of that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm Bo Simpson, and I'm with the Safe Surrey Coalition. And I'd like to start by thanking all the candidates in front of me here tonight. I've been a journalist for 15 years, so I've covered a lot of these political forums. I've even moderated a few. And let me tell you this, it's a lot harder on the nerves to be on this side of the podium. So thank you, candidates, for your courage in putting your name forward. For the past 7 years, I've served as editor of the Now newspaper in Surrey. I'm proud of the job I've done to showcase Surrey's successes while covering the tough issues like crime, transportation, and city spending. I know Surrey. I know the issues. I know both sides of the issues. I know that residents of Surrey do not feel safe. I know that citizens are frustrated. They can't get around quickly and efficiently in our city. I know residents are disgusted by the fact that council spent $150 million on an unnecessary, over-the-top, extravagant glamour project like the new City Hall. I know that the people of Surrey want to change the governance of Surrey to the ward system. I know that citizens are demanding a strong, decisive, and proactive public safety plan, one that will restore public confidence in Surrey. And I'm proud to be part of the team that will do just that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your first question. Although you're in favor of a purpose-built shelter, you're not in favor of the proposed location near the hospital. Why and where would you locate it?
Well, I believe that it could be in a better location, and I think that the residents in that area have spoken. And when I go in the community and talk to people at their doors and in community meetings, I hear the same thing everywhere I go. They don't feel that they're being listened to. The people of Surrey feel very disconnected from our current city council, and they're not being heard. So I propose that as city councillors and candidates, we start listening to the people of Surrey.
Thank you. And your second question, you do not identify transportation as one of the top issues in Surrey. Why is that?
Well, I think that the public safety is right up there for us. So there's so many issues in public safety. We have the drug recovery houses running rampant in our neighborhoods. We have an understaffed RCMP force. We have illegal suites all over our city. Every community I go into, they tell me that their neighborhoods are being ripped apart by crime. And we need to put first things first and make Surrey a safe community. I know that we talked about getting an A, and we scored an A, and we won this award. Well, you know what? Surrey does not feel safe. And to me, that's the most important thing.
I'll go for 45 seconds. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for coming out here tonight. As I said, my name is Murph Beta, and I'm proud to be running with One Surrey. We are One Surrey. We're committed to a change, and this is exactly what we need here in Surrey. On November 15th is we need a change, a definite change for the better. I'm a retired RCMP officer, having served over 36 years, and for the last 9 years I've been working as a municipal employee in charge of the Auxiliary Constable Program. I've seen the crime spiral out of control. The service delivery that we have currently is not working and will not work. We, with One Surrey, will immediately hire 200 community safety officers to go into the community, to work with the community in all 5 districts, to try and alleviate the root causes of crime and work with the community to try and eliminate crime. Certainly we need more RCMP officers, I agree with that, but we have to take drastic action now. I know the RCMP in the background. We will not get 104, or 140, or 90, or whatever number you want to use police. It's not going to happen. Can't happen. So let's not fool the public. Let's take action now to try and make Surrey safe. It's time for a change. Please elect the team of One Surrey under Brenda Rosilli. Thank you.
Well, your first question also follows on something you've already said, because it asks to outline your plan to address public safety. So perhaps you'd like to take a few moments to elaborate on that.
Thank you. Once again, I believe we can immediately hire a public safety director who will work with the bylaw, who will work with the fire department, will work with the RCMP, and any other government agency to address and tackle the problems of crime. If we don't grasp crime, nothing else all matters. And Surrey is the lowest in recognizing safety. We are only at 13%. Only 13% of us feel safe in Surrey. Not acceptable.
Thank you. Your second question, you talk about city centre being the perfect location to enable residents, tourists, and shoppers to visit and enjoy the offerings of our city. What is your commitment and plan to make this happen?
I think city center is a wonderful place. We have to encourage people to come and take a look at the beauty of it. But we have to, once again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, eliminate the crime. We want to make sure people are able to come and enjoy the beauty that we have to offer, the arts, the culture in downtown Surrey. By eliminating everything, we also have to make sure that the seniors have transportation to come to city center. I recently had a meeting with Handy Dart. They tell us of the problems of seniors with disabilities getting around. We have to address those and other issues. Thank you very much.
Hi there, my name is Lori Guerra. Guerra means war in Italian, and for some it's a very difficult name to pronounce, so that's why I'm saying it twice. I'm proud to be running with the Safe Surrey Coalition team in this municipal election. I was wondering what I could possibly tell you in 90 seconds that could get you to know me or more about me a little bit better. And I can tap dance and I can walk on my hands, but I'm not sure that's going to cut it for here, nor do we have the room. So I thought I'd try this. I've lived in Surrey for the past 25 years. I'm 51 years old. I have 5 children and an amazing husband, only one of those, and a dog named Max. I was a successful realtor, had a building company, and did some land development and assembly, but then chose to hang my real estate license in order to take care of my son, who was diagnosed with autism at the age of 6. He has now reached best outcome from science-based treatment, which basically means he has recovered from autism, and attends Simon Fraser University, Surrey. I am a director at the Autism Society of BC and have been an advocate for science-based treatment for autism for the past 13 years. I am currently back in university pursuing a degree in political science with a minor in psychology, and no, I am not an auctioneer, and yes, I prefer milk chocolate over dark. I did a televised fitness show in the 80s called The 20-Minute Workout, and although I was an accomplished actress, dancer, and model, that fitness show became my claim to fame. I am running for office because I was asked to join the Safe Surrey Coalition after a conversation I had with Doug McCallum at an event held in the summer. I'm the block watch captain in my area and I'm fed up with the crime happening all around Surrey. My main concerns for the City of Surrey center around public safety, transportation, fiscally responsible government, and implementing a award system for better citizen representation. I love my city, my neighborhood, and my local church. Thank you.
Well, I personally am exhausted now. I wouldn't underplay the ability to walk on your hands.
I know.
Your first question, however, is you state that you support the award system. Why is that?
As a student back in university, the most important thing I've learned is that there's a flip side to every coin. So when you look at award system, the pros definitely outweigh the cons when you have such a vast geographical area such as Surrey and such a multicultural area as Surrey. So I would very much support an award system here. It just gives better accountability as far as the citizens know who to call and who to contact. And then if they don't like those people, they can vote them out in the next election. So that's why I support the award system.
Thank you. Your next question, you recognize that Simon Fraser University has had an amazing impact on our city. What can the city do to support SFU moving forward and at the same time add to the economic impact of the downtown core?
The reason I think that Simon Fraser University is it's a top-notch university and it's in this area. I actually have 2 of the most innovative programs that are offered at the SFU Surrey campus are both the MSc program, which is Mechatronics Systems Engineering, and the CAP program, which is School for Interactive Arts and Technologies. And the one thing I love about Simon Fraser University is it happened to be here at the right time. I have 1 student in 2nd year MSc and 1 student that is, one of my sons is going to be registered in the CAP program in September. And I think it's a wonderful way to engage our students to get into jobs, technical jobs, right out of university.
Mobile home for the last 8 years, various locations.
And I like the business atmosphere at Surrey, the small business, I've always been involved with small businesses. But I'd like to see more adequately paying jobs associated with them. And another issue that bothers me is the SkyTrack plans. I've had a few myself. Because I'm a big, I don't buy passes, I pay every day, and it turns out that the fines are way too high for the offense. It's just, that's an issue I'd like to bring up. But the other one, I'm into safety also, but just in regards to hospitals. I found that Fraser Health is, can be quite a dangerous place to be. With their executor style healthcare and their decision making.
I'm Judy Villeneuve, and I've been your representative on Surrey Council for 25 years. And as an incumbent councillor, I have an accountable record, and I remain committed to this beautiful city. I've had the privilege of working with Diane Watts and the Surrey First team, and I respect their diverse talents, and I think we're moving the city in a progressive and positive direction. I've been chair of the Surrey Social Policy Advisory Committee and played a key role in developing our social plan, our crime reduction strategy, and our Surrey poverty reduction plan to try and address the root causes of crime. And our Surrey Homelessness and Housing Society has granted $2.8 million to help support our vulnerable residents with programs and projects to house and provide services. And we've also used our sustainability charter as a decision-making tool, trying to balance the need for social services with economic opportunity while protecting our environment and our natural resources. And we've recently completed a biodiversity strategy working with our residents, and we'll continue to do that. And I'm particularly pleased to have been the chair of the Public Art Advisory Committee, and we now have over 60 public art pieces in our recreation centers and public squares. So the last 9 years have been my most productive on Surrey Council because we've worked with a team of people that have worked well together, that have put partisan bickering aside in the best interest of Surrey residents. So I'm asking you to support Linda Hefner and the Surrey First team in this election. Thank you.
Now you have been mentioning a cultural corridor. What will this look like, and what are the plans to make this happen?
I've had the privilege of chairing the Public Art Advisory Committee, which I mentioned, and we have promoted public art. But I also chair Surrey's Cultural Development Committee with representatives from all of the different sectors. And we've just finished a marketing plan for arts and heritage, and we also have a cultural mapping program on our website now. So we've identified the artists, the groups in our city that are supporting the arts. And I know that the cultural and creative industry is an economic generator. 1 in 4 people are involved in the arts. The Surrey Board of Trade has hosted 3 creative forums with us because they're interested in connecting our artists with businesses. And we envision the cultural corridor down King George Boulevard, from the Surrey Centre through the Bear Creek Surrey Gallery, all the way to South Surrey with the Art Gallery and Recreation Centre.
Thank you. And your second question, and the last question of this section, is a familiar question. What will you do to ensure Surrey gets the necessary funding to have a purpose-built shelter constructed before the available funds go to another community?
Well, the first thing I'll do as a city councillor is put up my hand and vote yes to a viable site to build the first purpose-built shelter. We really have had difficulty in the city centre because Gateway, and which is now Keys, has had not a proper built facility to try and deal with the services that they're providing for our vulnerable residents. So we now have gone through public hearing, and people have told us that they are interested in sites near the hospital district. Our city staff is negotiating for a site that looks viable. We'll take that through public hearing, and once we have a site zone, BC Housing will provide the capital funding and operating costs for a purpose-built shelter with transitional housing, and we need that in the city.